Spoiler warning. This video will contain spoilers from chapters 80 to 93. Ruby Hoshino has gone from the happy, cheerful sister of Aqua, trying to become an honest idol, to a girl consumed by the desire for revenge on the day she learned more about Ai and Goro's deaths. The music video Ruby filmed on that tragic day became the catalyst for its success and Bikomachi's large jump in popularity. In particular, it was the mysterious aura and gaze of Ruby that captured the heart of its many viewers. She seemed to be obsessed with something, that something being revenge. Even Bikomachi's OG fan can sense that Ruby seems to be more calculated. My guy isn't wrong, as later we see her make a surprise appearance on Dig Deep, an internet TV show that Aqua is a regular on. Aqua clearly isn't happy to see his sister there, but everyone else is clearly entertained by his reaction and her performance as the reporter. After the show, Aqua goes to Kaburagi, since he's the producer of the show and gave permission to have Ruby on it. Kaburagi was amused by Aqua's reaction and also states that his sister is very strategic. He also reveals that it was Ruby who approached him with this proposal after inviting him to a Bikomachi concert. Kaburagi is evidently impressed by her tactics, as he states girls who do that are strong. Specifically, he mentions that you need to be able to find back doors to get the position you want, and have the ability to sniff out an opportunity, which can be a powerful weapon. When Kaburagi first met Ruby, she didn't seem like the scheming type. Even Aqua is a bit stunned, which makes sense, as this is a side to Ruby no one has ever seen before. Kaburagi wonders if Strawberry Productions has a good advisor. He's not too far off the mark. After all, they did once have an excellent president, who just so happens to be the same person Ruby has been meeting. Just like the mysterious crow girl, we see Ruby surrounded by crows when she meets up with Ichigo, the former president of Strawberry Productions. It's clear that they have met recently, and although Ichigo tells her to go away, Ruby states she won't let him run. Ichigo is the closest to Ai, which means he's also the closest person to the truth. Gazing at Ichigo with the double black star in God, Ruby states she will not let Ichigo escape until she finds the man who killed Ai. Ruby begs Ichigo for all of Ai's contacts. However, Ichigo declines to protect her. After all, those newbies back then have all become big shots in the industry by now. The only way Ichigo will let Ruby meet those big shots is if she becomes famous enough herself. Ruby asks for more advice, which reveals that it was actually Ichigo who told her to get the job as the reporter on Dig Deep. We see that Ruby believed that Ichigo actually played a serious role in Ai's success, and she will use him to get more popular too. The next piece of advice Ichigo gives her is to play a character, specifically do her best to play a fool and exaggerate a slight bit to create a silly episode. Of course, we see her put that advice to use immediately during her next appearance on Dig Deep. When asked if she made a blunder recently, Ruby exclaims how she nearly burned her house down by boiling hand soap. Ruby explains that she thought the hand soap would just evaporate, which leads to her being called stupid and nearly everyone on set laughing, which is exactly what she wanted. Aqua knew the story was an over-exaggeration of the incident that happened. However, Ruby then uses the moment to bait a rude comment from Aqua himself. Aqua immediately realizes that she just used him as a tool, but also suspects that someone must have drummed up the idea into her head. He's not wrong, but Ruby does not stop her manipulation there. Her other target is the assistant director, and she starts to treat him well. The assistant will eventually become a director himself, which means she can use him to secure roles in the future. Like Ichigo said, in order to be popular, you also need to be calculated. We gradually see Ruby beginning to interact with Yoshizumi, the assistant director, more. And he actually has it especially tough, due to his director being someone who has already caused various problems elsewhere, and got fired before moving over to this company. You'll see why this is important later. As the assistant director, Yoshizumi has to essentially do everything, and we quickly see the problem that leads to. For the next segment of Dig Deep, director Yuroshibara wants to do a cosplay segment using Tokyo Blade costumes. He says he'll take care of the copyright issues, while Yoshizumi finds the cosplayers willing to do an interview. Sounds simple, right? Nah. The first problem is that they need 10 people, and Yoshi is struggling to find just one. However, guess who shows up at the perfect time? That's right, it's Ruby. Of course, Ruby offers to help find some people. The first person she gets to join is her friend, Minami. She is reluctant at first, since she's a model, and if she's portrayed as a cosplayer, it would feel contrived. However, Ruby quickly proclaims that it would be a waste of an opportunity if Minami turned the TV job down. Minami is a bit off-put by Ruby's desire for her to join, but accepts anyway. However, Minami does note that she thought Ruby hated contrived plans the most and wonders if she started to become ingrained in the dirty world of adults. Eventually, Yoshi manages to get enough cosplayers. Things should be smooth sailing from there, but as they're driving somewhere, Ruby just happens to ask what costume she was gonna wear. It seems like a genuine question, but when Yoshi says it'll be a Tokyo Blade character, Ruby brings up how it's really hard to get permission to use Tokyo Blade. Yoshi decides to go to the director to get confirmation if they can use it. Yet, the director doesn't even know and makes a call right in front of Yoshi before finding out that they actually can't use the Tokyo Blade characters. The director just tells Yoshi to have the cosplayers use copyright-free costumes on that day, and then leaves everything to him. The assistant director is hard carrying this man. Yoshi ends up having to apologize to all of the cosplayers, but as we soon see, that ain't enough. In particular, there's one certain girl who Ruby also invited. Maya, a cosplayer for a boys magazine, seems to be the most critical of the bunch, bringing up the issue and even suggesting people in the TV industry only care for themselves. It only gets worse from there when the interview comes around, before culminating in a tweet Maya posted once she left, essentially revealing what happened with the cosplay change and expressing the disrespect she felt. And like, just looking at these questions is enough to explain why she feels this way. Like, some of these questions are crazy, at least for TV they are. Of course, it begins to trend all over Twitter, and Maya refuses to delete that tweet. Due to that controversy, the higher-ups decided to postpone the cosplay episode, and the station even considered issuing a direct apology. The director ends up blaming Yoshi and actually goes off on him. In the end though, the director says he'll take full responsibility. Yoshi can only wonder what's gonna happen to him now, since the news is blown up. Perhaps he'll get fired. However, just like an angel, or maybe a devil, Ruby appears before Yoshi with her double black starring gun in full effect and a proposal to fix everything. It all takes place on a special episode of Dig Deep, which is hosted by Ruby again. At the start of the show, Ruby directly brings up the tweet from Maya and the controversy it caused. Maya herself is there because Ruby did some negotiations with her. Ruby first tried to relate to Maya by saying she also had a lot of hard times because of the same problems too. However, Ruby questions if being satisfied for bashing the TV people is what Maya really wants, and suggests Maya speak her thoughts verbally if she really wants to address the issue for the sake of the cosplay industry. As we can see, Maya ended up accepting Ruby's proposal to join the show. Her goal is to investigate the cause and reform their organization. First, they decide to look over the copyright issues, which leads to Kana of all people going to interview the original author of Tokyo Blade at the publisher's office. Even Aqua can't believe what's going on. After that, they begin to go over the questions asked at the interview. Maya explains that she doesn't mind dirty questions if there is mutual respect between both parties, and she felt no respect coming from any of the people asking her the questions. However, she understands their situation now. She doesn't feel as angry anymore. She won't mind deleting the tweet as long as they can show this won't happen again. However, Ruby has a better idea. A ritual purification for the director to compensate for his misdeeds. And she reveals the final stage of her proposal. The director himself appears in a Princess Seiya costume to apologize for everything he's done. He basically clowns himself in front of everyone, and even Aqua is bamboozled. You just gotta love seeing the wholesome sibling interaction. More of that to come later. Ruby decided to go the eye for an eye route, thinking it would be more interesting to apologize to a cosplayer while doing cosplay. Maya is actually responsive to this and asked the director a few questions about the costume, relating to his struggles in making the costume too. Maya then asks how he would feel if someone suddenly said that the costume isn't needed anymore. And of course, he would be extremely pissed off, just like most people would, and that's enough to satisfy Maya. As long as he understands that, it's good enough for her. And now, later on, we see Aqua and Ruby walking home together. Ruby is glad everything worked out, but Aqua has a suspicious look on his face. He then asks Ruby if all of this was actually her idea. Has this been part of her plan all along? And you can just see it with that dark smirk on her face. At first, Ruby tries to act confused, but isn't even doing a good job at that. Just look at her, she just seems more pleased if anything. Ruby then just admits that she was involved a little, just a little bit. Since Aqua is her brother, she'll tell him. You know who she got this plan from? That's right, Aqua. She imitated what he did during the controversy for Love Now, when he seemingly manipulated Akane to become popular himself. Aqua is stunned silent. Ruby was impressed when she saw Akane and him become the center of attention, and thought she should do the same. Ruby says even though someone told her to go after the assistant director first, she thought that was too slow. After all, Ruby has no time to wait, and needs to become famous as fast as possible. The director himself actually went to thank Ruby for coming up with the plan to save his career, and is in her debt. So Ruby says he can repay her by continuing to use her in his projects. And just like that, Ruby has a director in her back pocket. She boldly went for the director first and got him. However, Aqua questions if Ruby deliberately created that problem to win the director over. Ruby says it was just a coincidence. She had done some research before making her first proposal, so she knew there was a problem with their coverage system. From there, she just introduced someone who likes to make a fuss. This actually wasn't the first time Maya had done something like this. Every time Maya feels wronged, she will expose it all on Twitter, and her fans attack them. So Ruby was confident she'd do it again this time. But then, Aqua asked, wasn't Maya her friend? And Ruby's like, hell no, she despises people who have a loose tongue. At least, Ruby was able to bring a girl like Maya to the conversation table properly. Her friend, Minami, was able to appear on a show with good numbers too. And even the director seems to be correcting his conduct better now. Everyone wins, but yet, something still seems to be bothering Aqua. He asks Ruby if it's okay. Is she really okay with this? Aqua thought using people like that was something Ruby hated the most. He thought she wanted to be a pure, honest idol who didn't speak any lies. Aqua seems genuinely concerned and even shouts asking if this is the kind of idol Ruby wanted to be. Aqua remembers Ruby said she imitated him, but says if she does that, what lies ahead is, well, we can only guess, as Ruby cuts him off and reminds him that their mom was a liar too. Ruby then makes it clear that she believes it's impossible for anyone to become famous in this world while being pure and honest. Doing things this way seems to suit her better, and tells Aqua that she'll be famous in no time. After this moment, Ruby suddenly got a lot of work, yet, due to her now dark and twisted nature, Ruby ended up making cracks everywhere. Ruby has begun to embrace her dark nature and is no longer the pure, cheerful girl we once knew. Everything she does now, it's all for the sake of revenge. And you know, the moment of Ruby revealing her master plan to Aqua was just so hype for me. It's probably like one of my favorite Ruby scenes in the manga so far. I really like how we get more of Ruby, and also how Aqua actually realizes the dark path Ruby was going down. So Ruby is essentially imitating Dark Aqua now. Do you all think Ruby's dark side can be even darker than Aqua? Let me know in the comments down below, and honestly, thanks a lot for watching this. I'd also appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe too if you aren't already. If you want to learn how Ruby first became consumed by darkness or watch some other Oshi No Ko content, then you can check out some of the videos here. Anyways, peace.